Another big game at the Camp Nou on Sunday. Barcelona taking on Valencia. That game also live on ESPN Plus. Coverage starting at 2:30 Eastern as we welcome in Sid Lowe as we take a look at the table. It's 8th versus 9th. Valencia, of course, great start to the season. Rubbish run, though, coming into this clash. And for Barcelona, Sid, well, what a couple of weeks it's been, considering they haven't played. However, their players have very much shone on the international stage. Obviously, Gavi now the hottest property in the world. You had Pedri, who, of course, has signed a new contract and he's worth $1 billion. Busquets is the best midfielder in the world also after his Nations League performance. So the question is, what happens to these players when they put on a Barcelona shirt?
Well, I suppose what you do is you look at Barcelona and you see it as a system failure, not just as individual players. The whole structure doesn't work as well. That it's not as well built. It's not as well put together. Certainly, in particular, Busquets. I think he's the player where you really look at this because, of course, we've seen positive things from Pedri, we've seen positive things from Gavi at club level, but Busquets, certainly in terms of the expectations around him, hasn't played at the level that he's played in these last few games for Spain. And I think, in particular, when you look at him, you look at a Spanish national team that gives him more passing avenues, gives him great support, I think allows him to play on the front foot, allows him to defend forwards rather than be turned and forced to defend backwards, which I think is something that he just can't do anymore. But I think if he's stepping into the game, he can still be very, very effective. And that's the big, from a Barcelona point of view at least, that's the big talking point out of these last two Spanish national team games. People looking at Busquets and going, is that the same guy?
So, Ali, is it naive of me or too simplistic to say, right, if I'm Ronald Koeman, I think, right, how does this work so well for Spain and how can I mirror that with Barcelona?
You don't have quite the same personnel available to you in Barcelona. The very best version of Barcelona with Sergio Busquets in the midfield was a team that was able to press higher up the field, that was able to counter pressure, that even when they lost the ball in possession in the attacking half, they would get that possession right back, and that's what Sid is talking about, where Busquets is stepping into the pressure.
Right.
Because you're not able to press the way that you used to, because you don't quite have that same mentality, the system, the players, the personnel, whatever is it that you want to point the finger at. When Barcelona loses the ball, they're unable to counter pressure, they're unable to press higher the field, and now Sergio Busquets is turned around and chasing around the midfield. And when you make Sergio Busquets and Pedri and Gavi, all those guys chase around in the midfield, it's not what they want to do, it's not what they do naturally, and so therefore, all those spaces that they now have to cover because the quality of their possession is not nearly as good, now they get exposed defensively. Oh, and if you had players in the back line that maybe were able to deal with 1v1 situations a little bit better, that would make it easier, but they don't have that either, and so therefore, when this team gets stretched and they're forced to defend, they're in trouble.
But they do have Frankie de Jong there as well, who isn't Spanish, but is a massive addition, 70 million plus they paid for him.
Okay. Did you just hear what I said? Same thing. Same thing. This is a guy that if you're in the attacking half and you lose the ball in a bad area and then he's able to press the ball then and there and win the ball in the attacking half, he's great. But if you force him to go in the opposite direction, now it takes him away from doing some of the things that he does very well. That late arriving run into the 18-yard box in the attacking half, he can't do that because he's too busy over here trying to cover the holes that Sergio Busquets is leaving wide open.
It is, of course, a massive week for Barcelona. Obviously, we're excited about the Clásico here, but preceding that, Sid, you've got that tie, as we mentioned, against Valencia in Catalonia. And, of course, let's not forget as well, in the Champions League against Dynamo Kiev. Remember, at week 3 of the Champions League, Barcelona have still yet to register a single point.
Yeah, this is absolutely huge from Barcelona's point of view. Of course, the way that the Champions League is structured means that they now get Dynamo Kiev 2 games in a row. I wouldn't go quite so far as to say they have to win both of those, but to be honest, they pretty much have to win both of those to give themselves a real chance of getting through. The likelihood is you would get through with 9 points. If they get the 6 from there, they can get 3 more from the remaining 2 games. But it could not have been a worse start for them. You know, this is a team that's lost 2 games, that's not scored yet, that's conceded 3 goals in each of those 2 games, and is in really, really big trouble. And it's a group that's structured in a way now in terms of the points the other teams have picked up that it means that Barcelona are very, very much on edge. To be honest with you, if you look at this group now, you probably think to yourself, the most likely outcome is that Barcelona don't get through it.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe Europa League is their best bet. Sid, meanwhile, one bit of good news for Barcelona is that starting off this weekend, for the first time this season, the Camp Nou can be at full capacity?
Yeah, my guess is that it won't be this weekend because this news has come a little bit late, and that maybe trying to get people mobilised and ready for it. And also there's quite a lot of season ticket holders who had decided earlier in the season, when there was uncertainty about, well, obviously about the team, but uncertainty about what would happen with the stadium. Quite a lot of season ticket holders, I think it's around about 25,000, haven't renewed their season tickets for this season. So I don't think it will be full, but it can be. And of course, I think that does mean that for the Clásico, it's likely to be pretty close to full. Maybe not 100%, but very, very close.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.